All right, well, Harry and John, stop putting the economy on the rocks and have one on the rocks. New calls for lawmakers to loosen up, kick back, and have maybe a few shots of tequila together. Maybe that's what can get this thing solved in Washington. John Paul DeJoria is the co-founder of Petron, and among other things, imbibes people with spirits that will, well, lift their spirits. He joins us right now out of Los Angeles. And I got to tell you, John, the more I see what's going on in the name calling, the less I'm confident that they're even closer to a deal. And maybe it's our whole budget process. Maybe it's the way we go through things. But we kind of limp from deal to deal, temporary spending resolution to the next one, and we never solve anything. What do you think?
That's correct. You're 100% correct. We have a couple of parties there, unfortunately, who aren't governing. We hired them to govern, but they're not governing. So we want them to govern like they should. And that means talk to one another. I understand it was only recently that our president talked to Congress. Well, he should have talked to Congress months ago. But right now, they should talk to one another. That's really the answer. But as you say, to get a good day going, you could start out in the morning, get a nice cup of coffee, put some Patron XO Cafe in there, sip it, and at least feel a little better and have a smile on your face, and try and figure it out. But, you know, Neil, something good has come out of this. The day after this all started just a few days ago, it was on the news, something quite interesting. I'm into the environment and protecting the environment, and everybody knows that. But they talked about the EPA, that the EPA is not going to shut down. They have 1,000 people, which will run it very effectively, but they're going to furlough 10,000 people. Well, the commentator said, well, wait a minute. 1,000 run it, you're furloughing 10,000 people. Are all of them going to get their jobs back, or are a few of them not going to get their jobs back because they really are overstaffed? Well, in my mind, it was this. It's a lesson, a good one to be learned. Should somebody be fired from their job? No. These are people that depended on our government and our way of life to survive. They shouldn't be fired. But when they leave their job, whether it's through retirement or they're just switching positions, they should not rehire. They should get some of the other people there to be able to do that job, because maybe you only need 8,000 people. For sure, you don't need 11,000, because
well, you do have a lot of people who are considered non-essential. Now, when you run a business, I mean, how many of your people were non-essential?
We don't have any like that. In other words, somebody should be responsible. That's the whole thing. They should be responsible.
Okay.
If you're not essential, why do you have your job? Now, do we go out and fire people? No, we don't fire them. But
Gotcha.
through attrition, we could double up jobs. That's what I do with my companies.
Understood.
And some of them, we should have 5,000 people. We end up with only 1,000. But they get the job done, and they never lose their job. They're essential.
Right. John Paul DeJoria, thank you very much. As John Paul was speaking, by the way, Steny Hoyer has been talking. He, too, is name-calling. We're not going to Steny. Well, man, I don't know what I started getting a lot of emails on my decision to just stop. And this is something I've been doing on all my shows on Fox News and Fox Business when they start name calling. Some of you saying, Neil, I noticed you cut the bikes of Republicans and Democrats. Would you do the same to the President of the United States? Actually, we did when we were getting these AP bites from the President from his interview with the Associated Press. As soon as he went into the lambasting Republican thing, we cut the bites short. I think our goal was just to understand what he was saying about the debt limit and all that, but as soon as he veered into attacking Republicans, we just cut it off there. So we're fair and balanced arbiter of BS here. That's my point of view. I'm sorry if some of you are offended on the right or the left, but we're trying to get things done here, okay? So Chad Pergram on the phone with us right now. Chad, I hear still more name calling on the right and left, not much solving.
Yeah, not much happened. This was just an effort to, show to folks, hey, we will pay federal employees when we get the government back open. We don't know when. In 1995, there was some dispute over that. Ernest Istook, who was a Republican congressman from Oklahoma at the time when the shutdowns happened in 1995, he wrote to then Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, and said, well, we shouldn't pay the federal employees because they haven't done any work. So with this unanimous vote in the House of Representatives this morning, the feeling this time around is much different than in the mid-1990s, and I'm told by a senior Senate source that the Senate, when it comes in here in just a couple of minutes, at some point this afternoon, will probably ask unanimous consent, meaning all senators have to agree, to also pay the federal employees. So this is about the only work that they're doing today.
So how long do you think this is going to drag on, Chad?
Well, the House Republicans have teed up a series of bills next week to fund portions of the federal government, much like they've been doing this past week. And when you get through a lot of that, they're up to almost $300 billion in federal spending. That's about a third of the total to open the federal government. So that's significant, and it will be interesting because the Senate will have not passed any of these. Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid has been consistent in saying that he doesn't appreciate this piecemeal approach. It's all or nothing. The same way with the president. And, as we get closer, here we have that debt ceiling issue coming down the pike as well.
All right. Chad, thank you very much. That's Chad Pergram in Washington. Okay, again, we're watching the name calling continue. A lot of you people think, my view is when they act childish, we got to stop it. And when my own children, 11 and 12-year-old boys come up to me and say, hey, what the heck, why not be late on our homework that Congress is? I mean, what kind of example are we showing? What kind of example are our leaders showing? This isn't just about our money. This is about our very soul and backbone. And we're ridiculous.